Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Edge.
The quality of your answers depends on the quality of your questions. You have to evolve. I don't need to be the center of attention, but I like the attention that content gets.
Shit, there it is.
We got to move really quick to get the interest off to someone. I learned the ability to storytell, the ability to captivate, draw, and drive people from a behavior to something else. You won't be as good as you are in 2 years if you don't do that first. You can string productivity and increase margins and everything faster.
People need to understand this, so get ready. Yeah, okay. Exactly.
You don't really understand the pain point. AI agents are the future.
Welcome everyone to an episode of Uncommon Edge.
I'm so excited
Uncommon
to be here.
Edge.
I'm very
Dude.
uncommon. That's why I'm here.
Buckwise is in the house today, and this has been kind of in the making over, I don't know, I forget the last time we worked out and then we saw each other.
Yeah.
At that event in December.
Yes.
And I'm like, let's go, dude.
It's long overdue. And I'm so glad that it finally happened. It's awesome to be here.
And check this out. So I get this text from Buck saying, hey man, Happy New Year. Once things settle down, reach out. And
Was it January 2nd?
It was January 3rd.
3rd. Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you mean settle down?
Yeah. I have to give context to this. Most business owners, typically, they are swamped the first week back from break. Why? Because at break, they ain't doing nothing.
They broke at break.
They broke at break. Yeah. So I was in my catch up with people that I wanted to catch up with in the new year. New year, time to do some new partnerships, help people grow. And I said, you and I have known each other a long time. I said, I knew you had this office. I have my new office. We got to sync up at some point.
Yes.
And I should have known better. He's a high performer. When you work with a high performer, there is no stop. It's all go all the time.
You keep going.
You didn't break on break. It's like, yeah. So I should have known better. I was corrected. And here we are on a podcast. Not 2 weeks into the new year, we're banging out a podcast.
Let's go.
That's it.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so here you are.
Yes.
2026.
I'm here.
What's been going on in these past 5-10 years? Because you've done a lot.
I have.
You've done a lot.
I like to use the word eclectic. I have an eclectic past.
Eclectic past.
Yeah.
I like that.
Everything from broadcast, owning agencies, selling agencies, working with big web celebs, Grant Cardone, Ryan Serhant. I've been in the room with big CEOs like Starbucks, Nike, Google. So eclectic, all over the map. But now I help entrepreneurs all over the world build personal brands.
So going through what you've gone through,
yeah.
When did Buck all of a sudden just wake up one day and go, shit, there it is? Or are you still in that journey process?
Yeah, I think you have to evolve. I think the minute you get comfortable is the minute you die. And so I'm always pushing myself for whatever the next thing is and shedding the weight of what's not serving me. Mm-hmm. I was a creative in the beginning of my career. I focused on talent and storytelling. And then I started to build a business out of necessity. And in that process, I realized I didn't know shit about business. And I got the whipping that you're supposed to get. I think I lost money my first year, hired people, fired people, people sued me, whatever it was, right?
All of it.
Yeah, I learned the hard way. I did not have, I don't know about you, but I didn't grow up in a family that had taught me financial literacy. And so I had to figure a lot of that out myself. And I did that in my first 5 to 10 years of business. But I worked for iHeart for many years. I syndicated all across the country. And to me, I think the biggest lesson in my life and the foundation and what I help other entrepreneurs with is I learned the ability to storytell, the ability to captivate, draw, and drive people from a behavior to something else. And I didn't know at the time that you would use that to sell. You would use that to inspire someone to come work with you that you need in your organization. I just thought, my job is to make people laugh to get ratings. And so that sort of has carried on, even though AM and FM is dead And I moved out of that and I went into digital, and it was like the Facebook, and it was really hot.
Yeah.
And then it dies, and then you go to TikTok, and then whatever the next thing is. It's all storytelling though. It's just different platforms. And so that's sort of how I always evolve. The big thing everyone's talking about this year and where we've really moved into is artificial intelligence and AIO and helping people now tell stories and get discovered in AI.
And we want to talk about that later. But hold on, let's go back now.
Yeah.
The storytelling thing.
Yeah.
Was that something that was self-taught, a mentor? Like where did some of that come into play?
Yeah, I think I'm a middle child.
Okay.
So I think by nature, I was forced as this middle child to strive for attention. So I think it's a funny story is I'm actually introvert. And so I don't want attention in a room per se. I like the attention that the content creates. So a little distinguished, difference between I don't need to be the center of attention, but I like the attention that content gets. So at an early age, my mom would joke. She'd walk by my room and she would say she heard me talking to someone. And she'd come in the room. There's no one in there. I was having my own show in front of the mirror, practicing and rehearsing. And so that's the natural evolution. But I definitely had mentors at iHeart. I had a guy named Dom Theodore who's still managing radio stations across the country.
Really?
Yeah, lots of really big radio names that you would know. He's sort of the secret consultant behind them and what they're doing. But he taught me at a very young age strategy, technique, mechanics of getting people's attention, how to carry the conversation, how to get the call to action, how to get the engagement at the end. All of those tips and techniques, they sort of transcend platforms. So I'm able to learn a lot of those things I learned back in the day. I'm able to apply in digital. I'm able to use in Instagram or going live or podcasting right now.
So you've taken some of these old school methodologies.
Yeah.
And you're flipping it over here onto the
Yeah.
digital AI, whatever, sector of business now.
They work. And I would say the biggest thing that I've always been, from a principle standpoint, I've always been really, really specific. The first thing I teach people when it comes to content creation is attention, because there's so much attention right now that everybody's fighting for. And so you have a very small, limited amount of time to get somebody to focus and pay attention. I think that's the thing entrepreneurs struggle with the most is they're like, I'm willing to do the content. I'm willing to make the podcast. I just don't know what to say. And then people get insecure about, I want to come across the right way. I don't want to feel silly or stupid. And then they get in their head about what they're saying. And so the two things I tell you is know the persona so well that in the first 5 seconds you say something that really gets their attention. Now, at some point, I know your editor might grab one of my little highlights and he's probably going to throw it in the front so that people wait for that moment that you or I said something really smart. And so that's the idea, is that we got to move really quick to get the interest off to someone. The second thing is people spend too much time planning content, not enough time executing content.
Just let it rip.
Yeah, you got to go. You got to go and figure it out. You'll look back in 2 years and go, God, that sucked. But you won't be as good as you are in 2 years if you don't do that first.
Yeah, I look back at some of the stuff I've done over the years.
Yeah.
Completely like what we're
As you should. As you should.
I just want to go back to pictures.
Yeah.
Can we go back to pictures?
They don't perform. They don't perform.
When's that going to come back around?
90% of the internet is video.
It's so crazy.
It's all video storytelling. The only way photos work, they do still work, because some strategists will go, excuse me, photos do still work. They work in carousels for education. So if you have a carousel that says, hey, here's 3 things you can do in the next 30 minutes that'll add $1 million to your P&L. Swipe right. People swipe. They read the story. So some images work, but for the most part, videos outperform images. I believe videos outperform images because it's passive. People are just so lazy with their phones, and they don't want to have to read. They don't want to have to focus their attention. What they want really more than anything is to just flip casually and have things be sent to them. It's like Tesla. People don't want to drive anymore. They want the thing to drive them. Right. They don't want to go to the grocery store. They want Uber Eats to bring it to them in less than 10 minutes.
I mean, again, we are so inundated with our devices
Yeah.
and social media and just there's so much
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. It reminds me of like back in the 80s, you would see these futuristic movies and stuff, and they would be walking downtown somewhere, and everything was like billboards. Remember some of those?
Yep.
It's just like all this information all over the place.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now we're here.
Yep.
So now it's like with literally having buckets of water being poured onto you.
Every second.
How do you fill that little shot glass
Yeah.
perfect without it overflowing or being able so people can at least sip on it versus I'm just so
inundated. Yeah.
because I see people, you know, and it's kind of crazy with adults and stuff even.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm talking to people and I can tell they're a little off or whatever, I'm like, how much screen time? What kind of screen time do you have right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you doing with your time on social media and some of this other stuff?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I find that and then all of a sudden they go down this rabbit hole and self-comparison and my life sucks and they're on vacation. It
can be really dangerous.
They got a new car. And
Yeah.
so how do we
Yeah.
cut through all that
Right.
to at least talk to that right person
Yeah.
that needs to hear our message?
I had a mentor tell me once, the quality of your answers depends on the quality of your questions. And what Dave is asking is $1 million question, literally. He's asking one of the best questions you could ask. The answer lies in strategy of how do you cut through when you're creating content. People who truly understand who they are and how they show up and what makes them different and what emotional attributes by me speaking do I want this target to feel. People who really understand that cut through. People who truly understand the target and the target's needs cut through. So the answer is twofold. Who are you and who are they? You have to know who you are from a brand standpoint, and you have to know who your target is. And not generally, oh yeah, I work with, let's use real estate. I work with new home buyers, first-time home buyers, married, they just got married, they're having their first kid, like new build construction, like that's my target, right? It's not intimate enough. Mm-hmm. You don't really understand the pain point. You don't know the data point of what they're searching. Are you really driving into their fear? Because everyone thinks it's education. It's not.
Right.
It's not education. By the way, GPT, Gemini, Claude, education has never been more prevalent. We're not here to educate.
No.
We're here to guide their fears and to make their behavior.
It's that emotion stuff.
That's
man.
it. That's exactly what it is. Howard Schultz came to me and he said, we have a problem at Starbucks. It was the problem you just mentioned. He said, we were the first pumpkin spice beverage. But now Dunkin' Donuts has one. McDonald's has
Everybody.
one. Yankee Candle has one.
Yeah.
There's a Trojan condom that's pumpkin spice. Like, there's pumpkin spice
Didn't
everything.
need to know that, but anyway.
It was research.
Stop
It was research. We researched for 6 months. What is the landscape of pumpkin spice? To your point, pumpkin. So we were the only ones when it launched. This was 14 years ago. We were the only one. And he's like, how do we reclaim this? And we were like, you got to know who drinks this. Like, who's the target? Not, hey, it's fall season. Let's just serve this to everyone who loves fall. That's not the answer. Mm-mm. So I like to give this analogy to casting a wide net versus spearfishing. Like, you could cast the wide net of the flavors of fall in a cup, But it was like, no, so how do we do that? We went back and studied revenue. Starbucks knows a ridiculous amount of information about you.
I can't imagine.
And I got to see it. You know what data point was the most fascinating? Anybody have the Apple Wallet? The wallet on your phone? This thing right here. Don't steal my numbers. This thing right here. Here, I'll cover so you don't steal free Starbucks. This, I don't know if you'll pick this up. Zoom in on this, editor. This is the Starbucks card, okay? I have $73 left on it. That card tells them where I'm at, when I got there.
What time of day?
What time of day,
what day of the week.
And then it has third-party data connected to it, so it's reading other things inside my phone. So it knows what music I was listening to. It knows what other credit cards I have. It knows how I typically pay. It then tracks, when you pay at Starbucks, it tracks order history. So every Tuesday he gets one of those little kitty peanut butter and jelly things with a cake pop. So now I'm getting classified in their segmented CRM as a parent. They now know I have kids. They see the trend line of me buying certain things. So they can easily kind of categorize everybody. So they know who you are. So we studied that data and we found Heather, who drinks a pumpkin spice latte. We knew specifically the biggest impact on revenue was this group of people. And we're like, who is this group of people? And we determined it was Heather. And Heather, to shorten the story so we can go on.
No, this is good stuff. Because people need to understand this.
The thing that we found about Heather, we found a lot about Heather. I could talk about Heather, and I've presented to Starbucks who Heather is. I could go on for hours about Heather. We studied so much data, third-party data, internal data, historical data, transaction data, everything. The one thing that drove a 20% increase in sales that year from the year before was that we determined Heather wants to be the influencer in her micro friend group, not online. She doesn't want to be, hey, everybody, I'm an influencer. She wants to be, if Dave and I are friends, Dave, did you hear the pumpkin spice latte was out? No, I didn't hear yet. Yeah, I knew that.
No way.
I knew that. That's Heather. Heather wants to be the one that knows first. And then she wants her little group of friends to come with her or see the experience because she will document the hell out of it. So we were like, okay, so the emotional point, so new home buyer, the emotional point, what is the emotional point? For Heather, it was fear of missing out, FOMO. That was it. All that data and research came down to she wants to be first. And we honed in on that little data point. I always make the joke, data equals dollars. You have data points that you collect, KPIs that you collect in every business, right? Especially the financial guys get this, and you're looking at all the numbers. Marketing guys get this. You're looking at flow and conversion, retention and all these things. There's so many data points. Every one of those data points is worth a specific dollar amount, depending on how you use the data. Just having the data doesn't make you a dime. How you use the data is how you create the dollar. Yeah. So we determined, okay, the data point is FOMO for Heather. How do we make money from Heather?
Yeah.
We give her the drink before it releases to the public. We asked Starbucks, can we secretly seed this to just Heather? We call it dark posting. We're just going to let her know through SMS, through email, and social. We'll dark post. So Dave won't see it. I won't see it.
But she will.
She will see it.
Wow.
So ads were running for only a very small select. I mean, a tiny select group of people. And we said, shh, this is not out.
Did you go nationwide or was this like in a certain city? Like what?
Global, there's a global campaign, but the one I was focused on was U.S.
Okay.
Heather was U.S.
Okay.
But we did have global markets, and sometimes we'd syndicate to markets where it made sense.
Okay.
Asia was a very different market. They didn't operate the same way. There were a few fun things that syndicated really nicely to Asia. For instance, we created something called the secret menu. We went outside. I was in Portland, Oregon, and we held up a piece of cotton candy. We took a picture, and the caption on Instagram said, mix these two syrups, and your Frappuccino will taste like a cotton candy. Asia went through the roof. Like Singapore called headquarters and said, we're out of raspberry syrup. Can you ship more? Like this cotton candy thing went nuts from Instagram, right? Crazy data point. That's a whole nother story. But for Heather, we seeded it to her early. Not only did the stores have this drink when no one knew, and Heather was able to partake in this drink weeks before it launched, but we spent less on advertising because Heather did the advertising for us. Hey, this isn't out yet, but look what I got. I bet you wonder how. FOMO. It was FOMO. So 20% increase in sales,
So basically like a grassroots.
In a sense, yeah. What we call, so you can break marketing down into 3 segments. They call it paid, organic, or earned. So when you say grassroots, that falls under earned. And we earned it because Heather, yes, we had paid because we seeded the message to her.
Sure.
We sent emails, which was owned. We didn't pay for that. We already had it. And then earned was sort of this sharing mechanism where we didn't even ask her to share. That was just, fluff. That was just, we really didn't know that she'd be sharing as much, but she did. And then it lowered cost on advertising because everybody was ready for it to come out. Everybody knows, like, every year NBC comes on the Today Show and they go, well, you won't believe this. It's August 15th and the pumpkin spice is coming out 2 months early. Like every year it's a week early, a week early, a week early, because they're trying to beat these other companies into the pumpkin spice season.
My God.
And so, what's funny is that is not nearly effective as the micro influence. If I could get one customer who has 3 friends to just influence those 3 friends, everybody's like, let's spend money for Kim Kardashian. She'll blow us up.
Yeah.
You get attention.
Or the Oprah effect.
Yeah.
That type of concept.
It doesn't convert. It's a part of a convert. It's a luxury.
Is it kind of like you get a little bump and
everyone
then
sees it? Yeah, it doesn't convert. Everybody sees, like, if a brand has the budget, we're going to do it.
Right.
We're going to go billboards, New York, Times Square, Oprah, everybody, Kim K. We're going to spend it just so everybody sees it.
Yeah.
But the conversion happens when Dave texts me and says, hey, they got a new mic. It's the Shure SM7B and it's digital. The ones we were talking on, you got to get the new one. I'm going to buy it like that minute. I don't need Kim K to show the mic, you know. So that was the idea, is that earned was so big through Heather.
Okay, so when did this take place? What year?
This was, you can Google it. Look for The Real PSL. I think it was 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to segue here. If it was that scenario that you were challenged with,
Yeah.
but with today's technology
Yeah.
and AI,
Yep.
walk us through what that bigger picture looks like. And now we've opened the door for AI.
Yeah.
So get ready.
Yeah,
Okay?
exactly.
So
Good question.
What would have been different?
Quality of the question determines the quality of our answer. Great question. First of all, just for context, Heather is now a mom and she still drinks pumpkin spice, but she does not have as many because she is weight conscious. And number 2, she only gets it because she sees it when she goes to Target and it reminds her of her youth. So she still buys it, but she's not the core target anymore. There's a new drinker of the pumpkin spice, and I don't have a clue who she is because I'm not there anymore.
Right.
But I do know Heather has evolved and that your consumer evolves.
Right.
There's the life cycle of the consumer. There's a weird number, by the way, for the life cycle of Starbucks. I think the average, not the lowest, not the highest, the average consumer, maybe me, because I'm not a high consumer of Starbucks. I'm an at-home coffee guy. But like the average, you'll spend $55,000 your entire life, like some wild number. From the moment you're 18 to the moment you die at 60, it's like some wild number. But today,
That's crazy.
you do have to think about the fastest growing way for information to exchange. And social has been one of those platforms that are easily influenced. And now what we know is the Google effect has evolved into artificial intelligence. ChatGPT was really the first consumer-focused AI. When Sam launched that, he had no idea how big it was going to be, and it had got adopted very quickly. What people liked about it was having conversational automation and data and information. They were like, hey, it's like having an assistant in your pocket. They liked the personality of AI, but yet they still got a result. And in some cases, they got a better result and they got it faster than what they were doing in Google. So here comes this explosion of AI for stats, because I'm a data guy. Like I don't like to sit here and go, AI is huge. Everybody's been saying, you got to get an AI. So let's just use numbers real quick. Okay. Facebook, when Mark launched, it took 4 years to go to 100 million users. 4 years. And that was fast. 4 years, 100 million users. GPT did it in 60 days. That's how fast it is. Now, the war in search for AI, when this podcast release, what I'm about to tell you is going to be different. That's how fast it's moving. It's every week. Yeah. There's an update. And someone did something.
The needle's just getting moved. I mean, it's just moving.
Fast. Which that alone, by the way, should be enough for anybody watching this to go, okay, I got to stop crapping on AI. I at least got to figure out what part of it is relevant. I'm never like you got to go all in on AI or you're going to die. But you do need to figure out what part is relevant now.
Yes.
And then keep your eye on the other pieces. Don't chase shiny objects. Don't try to replace your whole staff with AI. That's not happening yet, okay? A lot of guys are firing people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, stop firing
I'm going to get
people.
rid of my CPA,
Yes.
the receptionist, my assistant.
Don't do it. It's not there. And what you do is you hire people who are inquisitive in nature, who want to use AI so that you can stream productivity and increase margins and everything faster. That's what you're doing.
It gives you a little this superhuman power that would take you a week or two to do something, to
months,
gather data and whatnot, to where you
Yeah.
can have a little conversation, go back and forth, and be like, bam, there it is.
Yeah, they're doing things now. A buddy of mine is head of IT for the city of Phoenix, and they're using a lot of Microsoft Copilot, things like that. He's a developer. He said, what would take months is done in days, hours. Like, it's insane how fast a lot of this is moving. But what we know now is, so Google has been investing. They used to call it BART, now they call it Gemini, and where they have a powerhouse is they have a better data structure than GPT. But now you've got other investors coming into GPT to try to combat that.
Yeah.
You got Bezos coming into GPT because they need infrastructure and technology. But Google also has us. We've all had a Gmail. We've all had a calendar. We've all had a Google search. And so they're like, wait, we'll just infuse it into all of our products and then you have to use Gemini. So that was happening in the last 2 weeks. They've been releasing at an insane rate products with AI integrated. And so overnight, they're now winning over GPT as the fastest growing search for consumer GPT. Forget if you code, forget if you use it internally. Just search. Yeah. And so back to your point, back to your question, in today's world, how do we get authority, authenticity? How do we get awareness? How do we get our attention? You know, it depends on the audience. I'm going to say first, look, if you're going after retired, senior citizen, like they're not heavily using AI as much as Gen Z, Gen X, right? So it depends on the target, but generally speaking, the consumers are quickly adopting search and AI. Here's the crazy data point. The conversion rate in AI is 80% higher than Google. So Google, a question, bike shop.
Okay.
Bike. I need a new bike. There's 4 bikes. Google says, here's your 4 bike shops. And here's stars next to them of like, which one's good, read the review. So here you are.
4.5.
Yeah, 4.4, 4.5. Oh, but they only had 1,000. The other one had 5 reviews. Yeah. So now you got to weigh it. So here's you. Blah, 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 blah. What do you spend? 30 minutes, 40 minutes?
You can go down a rabbit hole.
Now GPT says, this is the bike shop. This is where you go. This is why. Customers said this about it. Just so you know, they also said this about it, but you don't have to worry about that because I already looked and that isn't true. So this is the bike shop that you want to go with. And people are going, take my money. They're not even doing more research. So then the question begs, if I search your name, do you exist in AI? And who does? The beauty of this all, and this is where your editor should take this as a highlight. The beauty of it is you have time, you have about 1 year to own your brand in AI, and you can compete against people with money and still win. There's no paid platform for AI yet. It's all gritty, elbow, grassroots effort. That's it. So that's the beauty of AI today. But you got less than a year. Sam has already said they're working on a paid platform. The minute they launch, hey, do you want to be first in AI when I ask who's the best real estate agent in all of Arizona? Yeah. The person with the most money wins. Yeah. And nobody wants to play that game because usually the average solopreneur is going to lose.
Correct.
So you can fortify your brand right now organically in AI. And that's what we're really excited about at Canary. And we've been building this out literally for over a year. And every week I just get more and more excited with how amazing these platforms become.
What's been the real head scratcher for you where you're just like, I can't believe, because you're in that world, okay? what's the one thing though that you're just like, wow, like this is actually going on right now?
Like personally, what am I most excited about?
Yeah, when you see, because again, you've been in this game a long time, and it's like now all of a sudden it's like we're over here in the Matrix.
Yeah. It's without a doubt the thing that's most exciting to me, and not many general consumers will say this. AI agents are the future. AI agents, a task force that autonomously creates results based on how you've trained it. Some of them are coming pre-trained and you just tweak them. Some are raw, you have to train from scratch. But once you train them, the productivity. Yeah, I love all the extrapolation of data. I love all the creative, like, give me 3 more ideas. You know, this is all great. This is what the average consumer is using it for. The average workforce is using it for. But the AI agent is literally connecting APIs in the background for me. It's researching some of the liability of doing that on tools and technology. It's just increasing workflow and productivity for me personally, as an organization, for my team. I'm helping things like, hey, we have a problem. This is a challenge. How do we fix it? I'm getting solutions to how to fix it. And then what would take an average human, even a smart human that knows technology, it would take them time and it would cost your company resource for them to go connect everything.
Right.
AI agents are literally doing the work for you, and you can visualize it as it happens. The one thing that's frustrating to me is the best agents right now are Claude has an incredible, ask any developer, they'll say Claude's the best agent right now. Google, the game will change. They have not launched an agent yet.
They're
They're working on it.
They're doing something.
Yeah, but that is when the game will change, is when they launch a browser agent that you tell it what to do. It's going to go like through your CRM, pull out the 4 people that drove the most revenue for you last year, but you haven't spoke to them in 6 months. It's going to pull them out, and it's going to write the messages and send it to them, and then drop a voicemail.
And they like pumpkin spice lattes.
Probably. Whatever else you've got in the attributes.
And send a $5 Starbucks.
It'll mail it. Yeah, the agent can literally, as long as it's accessible online, the agent can do it for you, whatever it is. The only thing they're limited on right now, they stopped me the other day, is they won't access parts of my bank account. That's where they're like, look, we're pretty wild. We'll do anything you want, but we won't go into your Chase bank and we won't start downloading statements. So there's still some pieces they won't. Financial institutions are very hesitant with the privacy and security. And it's your money, so you want it to be. But that is the one time I got hit. I was trying to build something out, and I wanted to do something weekly without ever having to look, you know? And they were like, nah, we can't. This is the one. This is as far as we'll go.
Can't cross the line on that one.
Won't cross the finance line.
Wow.
Yeah, that was it. But that's what I'm excited about.
So with the amount that you are using, how many people would that actually be?
For what?
Like with your AI agent.
For my organization?
Yes. So
I have multiple agents.
Okay, so with that being said, if you were to do away with the AI and replace AI with human beings, how many people do you think that would be?
I'll tell you where I've sort of built my own structure for agents. And feel free to steal this concept and use it. I built an executive staff. The number one issue in most small to medium-sized businesses is they get excited early on from ego, and they want to hire a CFO and a CMO and a CCO and all the C's. And it's like, bro, you're not even doing $2 million a year. You should, like a good I was a CMO. I was a CMO at Cardone Ventures. I was a CMO before that. I've been a CMO. A good CMO, you're doing base 350. You got a bonus to 580. And then you probably have some options or some sort of equity that gets you to $1 million.
Yeah.
Your CMO is making $60K, $70K a year. That's not a CMO. I'm glad you have a title. So and by the way, it's not to abuse someone that can't afford that. It's the cycle of business that you're in. You should not be hiring a CMO. Today, you can have one. He's your AI agent. She's your AI agent. So pull in the AI agent and train it. Have it research the function of the CMO, the function of the CFO. I have a real CFO. His name's Jeff. He's awesome. Jeff Jessen. He's my CFO. But I have a virtual CFO, and I told Jeff the other day, this isn't a secret. I was like, Jeff, your time is numbered, bro. And he was like, what do you mean? I said, this is what my AI is doing. You and your team were doing this with me, and it's doing it pretty much on par with what you guys are doing. Were you kind of like
doing a little side by side?
With some errors.
Sure.
But Jeff is smart because he's like, well, let me just adopt this and use it. And so now he's integrating it into his system. But, the idea is your agents, everyone's thinking like, I'm going to replace my team. Don't do that. Build an executive staff around you, your confidence. I've got a legal counsel. I have a real one. I love him. I love my guy, but I've got now, I'm going to tell you, I won't send this to him because he's not in real estate, he probably won't see it, but I've spent way less money with him since using legal counsel in GPT. And they will say there are certain functions in an organization that are more susceptible than others. Legal is one, finance is the other, and it's because anything that's black and white is easy to train. Marketing is tougher to train because it's smoke and mirrors. Right. And there's a lot of context and variables. And so you can't really replace marketing as well as you can finance because a book is a book, a forecast is a forecast, a P&L is a P&L. Spreadsheet. That's it. It's either black or white. It's yes or no.
There's no gray.
No. The only thing I would say is like Jeff he was a CFO. He was a financial strategist for some really big companies, some business management companies, and there's just some things research can't replace yet when you've done it for 20 years.
Yeah.
Like it's just, and that's really, when people do start replacing the workforce, I always tell them, have one person with the absolute senior experience to babysit because they AI's got to be babysat,
Yeah, it's not. It's up and running and we're good now.
Yeah.
It's constant.
We're not there yet. Elon says it's moving at an extreme rate. Probably 2-3 years we'll have agents that are not babysat and just doing everything in the background. He says the same thing with autonomous vehicles in less than a year. Have you heard his autonomous vehicle strategy, by the way? It's wild. I don't know. I don't want to go off subject on this. Go ahead. I don't know how long your podcasts go, but on the subject of Elon, I could talk for 2 hours. Elon has the most genius idea. I was a Tesla owner for many years, and then I just got an EV Hummer because I just want something big. We'll go off-road in the desert, go shoot something. So I want to go back to Tesla, and I want to tell you why. His idea, like Turo, rideshare, where you can just borrow someone's car. He's going to be the autonomous Turo. You and I own a Tesla. I'm at work. How long are you here? You get here at 7 a.m. You're here till 7 p.m.
Yep.
Your car's sitting in the damn parking lot. Imagine down the street said, I need to go to the grocery store. What's around me? Boom, Dave's car. You don't even know. Your car just left. You don't even know. I'm in it. And I'm not in the driver's seat. I'm in the back. It took me to the grocery store, took me home, and it came back to your office. You just made money. That's the future of autonomous.
You just got to make sure you don't leave your Rolex in the cup holder.
That's it. Yeah, there's going to be so many variables to it. But he says there's already hundreds of thousands of Teslas across the world. He hits a switch and says, you want to make money? You're not using your car? Think of how many people. Oh. By the way, I'll use it. I won't put my Tesla on. I've tried Turo before when it's your vehicle. Now, if you're in the business of rideshare, you buy cars and you know they're going to get beat. Yep. But it's like people that buy investment properties. This. They're like, and then we'll go on the off-season. I hear from everyone that does that. They go to the house and they go, oh, God, I don't even want to be in here.
What was going on in this bedroom?
That's what happens. And so I won't participate I don't need the money from the car share. But I can't wait until cars are just picking people up and taking them places. Pretty intense. He says we're a year away. Yeah, they're on like whatever level they are of autonomy. It's so close. You already see it in Scottsdale. We've got Waymo. He's like, Waymo's cute. He's like, we're going to crush. Waymo's Google. I can't even imagine. He's like, we're going to crush Waymo. Waymo's been perfecting this for years in Austin, San Francisco, Scottsdale, Arizona. And he's gonna demolish them. It's gonna be wild because he just flips a switch and he's got thousands of cars. It's also, not to get super nerdy, a different technology. Waymo uses like satellite, so it needs a map. they're showing Teslas now, currently, publicly, not beta, like working. I went to a cabin the road was covered in snow and it was off the grid and it knew the GPS point, and it uses its cameras for AI to decide where to go. So it doesn't need a map. It just goes in the snow with no road and it knows where it's going. It generally understands what it's doing. You put your hazards on in front of a Tesla and it goes, oh, this person's stopping, and it goes around them. Like the AI is reading the environment around. I saw a Tesla the other day go in autonomous mode, go to the airport, and it said level 1 full, and it read the sign and went to level 2 and parked. Like, it's smarter than the driver. It's crazy. Anyway, yeah, the future's
AI.
crazy. Future's crazy.
Buck, thanks for coming today.
You got it, brother.
Dude, this has been really good.
This is fun.
Probably need to do a little follow-up here in 6 months and see what else has changed.
Let's go.
Okay.
When I come in 6 months, it won't be me. It's going to be my avatar. It'll be on the
perfect.
screen.
Oh, excellent.
It'll talk just like me. You'll love it. But I'm going to retire.
Oh, is that how this is? A little hologram.
Yeah.
I'll just have a hologram right there.
That's it.
This will be, yeah.
That's
while
it.
you're on vacation.
That's it. You got it.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you for coming on. If you enjoyed today's show, hit that like button, subscribe. And as always, I love to hear your comments down below. So put some comments down there. Let's make it a great day.